There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our Mom Sense and Dad Sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit that'stotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to That's Total Mom Sense. Today, I have with me a beloved face on national television.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we're shining today.
From the heart of New York City,
it's Today with Jenna
and Sheinelle.
We got it. Yeah,
it's Sheinelle's Book Lunch Day with special guests, the moms of superstars Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Thomas Rhett, and Rob Gronkowski.
Right with Jenna and Sheinelle. We're shining today.
Hi, everybody. It is Tuesday. It is April 14th. On Tuesday, we wear pink in honor of Sheinelle's very first debut book. It is out today. It is called Through Mom's Eyes. It is a beautiful collection of essays. Look at you.
I know, I'm crying already. You know why? Because, you're like my sister at this point, and you're like book queen, and I sit next to you, and I hear you talk about all these books, and so for you to talk about mine is like,
of course,
surreal.
We're so thrilled. And the reason, too, these tears are hard won. You have been working on this. It's a project you've been passionate about for almost a decade.
I know. I started my first interview with Steph Curry's mom in 2018.
Wow.
And now it's 2026.
And here
we are.
How does it feel? Did you wake up this morning?
I woke up this morning, it feels like a book wedding, right? Where it's like, you've done all the things you need to do. Yeah. You've done, at this point, you need to just walk down the aisle and just celebrate the book,
Yes.
And I'm so thankful. We have some special treats this morning with the moms, but I feel like whether you are a mom, a grandmom, an auntie, a teacher, a coach, if you have poured into the life of a child, you deserve to be celebrated. And today we are going to celebrate all of these women who have nurtured us. And that is what I want to put out in the world. And so I'm going to live in it today.
I think that is so beautiful. You had a big event, totally sold out. I mean, you were overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed in Connecticut last night at the New Canaan Library. I didn't know what to expect because I was in kind of like a holding room. Yeah. And I walked out and I saw all of those faces. There were 2 men. There was a husband there, I don't know his name, and Willie Geist. And I saw Willie. Willie's like, hey, but it was really special. So more to come.
We love you so much. Sheinelle Jones, welcome to the show.
It's such an honor. I'm happy to talk to you.
Yay.
Let's get into it. Yes. We are media moms of multiples, and I think it's such a special connection and understanding that we have coming from that lens. Speaking of lenses, this is your new book.
It's so interesting. I look at this cover and I remember making it. I remember calling my cousin. I'm like, you're good at design. Let's come up with a cover. And so she's like, give me your inspiration board. And I showed her books and I was like, I just want it to be pretty. Yeah. I want women to feel like, even if they don't have time to read, because sometimes as moms we don't, if I could just put it on the coffee table or by the bed, I just want it to ooze love and good energy. And so they really wanted light pink. I'm like, no, I want it to be bold. And then they had these colorful flowers on it. And my daughter was like, let's make the flowers white. And so it was just this team project.
Yes.
So the fact that now it's here in front of us is surreal.
Absolutely. I love that they had their hand in it too.
Oh, yeah.
That makes it even more special.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to take us back to young Sheinelle in Wichita, Kansas. Tell us about her.
No one's ever asked me that before. She was into everything. I did dance, I did tap, ballet, and jazz. And then I was student council president and student council and peer leadership. And I was in the marching band. I played the clarinet. I was in this African dance troupe. Like, I look back and I was doing it all.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved life. Like, I loved new things. I loved friends. Like, I feel thankful because now, especially having 3 teenagers of my own, I know how rocky teenage years can be, or even middle school years. And I'm thankful that I really, in that way, had a lot of grace because I had a great experience, in like middle school and high school. You know, some people would never, they hated it. Right. I loved it. And I think it allowed me, it kind of prepared the table for what I do now. I remember and I talk about it in the book, I remember telling my grandmother what I wanted to be, and I told her I wanted to be a news reporter, and her eyes lit up.
Yes, this is grandmama?
Grandmama. And grandmama would say well, what would you need to, if you wanted to be a news reporter, what would you have to do? And that sounds amazing, Yes. And so I remember she called when I got to high school. One of the people at my church was a secretary at an NBC, at a CBS affiliate. And she called that woman. She's like, you have to help my grandbaby. She needs to be in there.
Right.
And the woman's like, your daughter's in high school or your granddaughter's in high school. But they got me an internship.
Wow.
And so I was interning.
That's how it starts.
I was interning in high school. I would run the teleprompter for the CBS affiliate.
Yes.
Yeah. I was in a newsroom early.
Yes, yes. And then you knew you wanted to go to Northwestern's Medill. I remember applying.
Really?
Yes, because I had a very similar trajectory where, I knew I wanted to go into reporting, seeing Oprah, Connie Chung, and I was like, there's nobody that looks like me on air, and I want an Indian woman on air. And I went to University of Miami School of Communication.
Okay.
But very similar. We had News Vision. You had NNN.
Yes.
What was that?
Northwestern News Network.
Northwestern News Network.
It's so funny, too, because so many of my colleagues on Northwestern News Network, I ultimately worked with at NBC. Joe Fryer, Peter Alexander is getting ready to do a new venture. But so, there's so many of us who were at NNN.
Yes. Yes, and that is the best training ground because you are schlepping the big camera and editing on Final Cut.
Huge back
beta
then.
cassettes.
Yeah, yeah, they were big, and I would edit tape to tape.
Yep.
I mean, it was
clunky
equipment. I'm proud of it. The mom was like, I walked 20 miles to school. I'm proud of
uphill both ways,
carrying the camera and the big old tapes. And when my first job, I think I sent out 100 VHS tapes.
Oh, yes.
Just waiting for a callback.
Yes. Yeah. I totally relate. We had the CDs.
Yeah.
But same thing. It was my resume reel. It was 5 minutes.
All the things.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yes. How did you navigate, working in various markets? Because you are on the Today Show, which is a dream, and your dream come true.
It is.
And New York is the #1 market.
Right.
So how did you get there?
So I remember when I was interning in high school, right? And then I got I was at Northwestern, and I looked around and it felt like everybody had the same dream.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, it's competitive. So then I need to just do what it takes, right? And so every summer from sophomore year in high school until I graduated from college, I was in a different newsroom.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every summer.
And
so
in a new city? Yeah. Oh my goodness! Wow.
So my freshman year in college, I went to the NBC affiliate in Wichita. My sophomore year, I was BET News, because the same thing. I used to see Tavis Smiley and some of the other faces back when BET had news, and so I interned there at BET, and I just slept on my sister's couch. She was in Howard Med School at the time.
Yes.
And then I went to Topeka, Kansas for a summer and interned for the CBS affiliate. And because I was a Northwestern student, they allowed me to be on the air.
Wow.
And so I used
the smaller markets you could
they do
get on air right away.
I used that work that I did that summer to get a job in real life. And so then that next year when I graduated from high school or college, my first job was a one-man band in Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so on my little resume, I had 7 internships. Yeah.
Yes. That's incredible. I chose to kind of leave national basically based on advice from one of my mentors. I don't know if you know Willard Shepard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Oh my gosh. He's from NBC in Miramar, the Miami, TVJ. And it was 2008. And he said, you speak Hindi, you could actually move to India. So CNN was just like, it was a burgeoning market, it was just launching. There was CNN, BBC, Times Now, which is owned by Reuters. And so I moved to Bombay.
Wow.
And I was with CNN International there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an experience.
It was amazing. Like a few months into the job, the 26/11 terror attacks happened. So we spent the night in the newsroom. I was routing live trucks, updating the death toll on the tickers. Like it was interviewed survivors. It was obviously a harrowing experience, but I feel like when you're doing crisis reporting or covering anything really heavy, you have to really want it. And I was like, I belong here. My parents were like, do you want to move back?
Wow.
And I was like, no, this is why I'm here.
Wow.
This is why we're in the news. We're first responders in our own way, you know?
The fact that you're telling me that, I admire it so much, because that means that you went to school for something, you had your eye on something, but you weren't afraid to look up and pivot and follow your heart.
Yeah.
You were able to go there and go to Bombay. And then now you've got this podcast.
And then I have the podcast.
And you have twins. And so, no, but I admire that so much, because I don't take that for granted. You know, when I wrote this book, I pictured someone who felt stuck.
Yeah.
Or you have these kids and we pour so much into our kids. And so you're almost so in it that you can't look up. And so I think you're an example of looking up a little bit. You know, I think that is, and look at the story you have to tell. You know, my grandmother was 96. Picture your 90-year-old self with all the stories you have to tell. I love that. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to be that kind of a woman.
Yes,
you know?
you are. You
I'm
are
trying.
Yes, and you're so intentional about motherhood.
Yeah.
And how you show up for your kids and what you're modeling for them.
I want to study it the same way I studied journalism.
Yes.
I want to study like motherhood as a craft.
Yes.
Like I want to know, I want to learn
it's its own science.
It's its own science.
A social science.
And it's a science, it's a social science, right? So there's no like A plus or 1 plus 2, you know, like,
yeah.
But I still want to learn it.
Right.
And be a master at the craft of it. And now look, God knows I know, you know, life is going to life. It's going to happen. But at least if I can have a clear perspective about it, or I know how I see it. As life comes, I'll know how I want to respond. I'll know when this one's having a tantrum, or if this one's like, I don't have to just respond on a whim or not know what, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I want to be clear about how I move in this thing called motherhood.
Mm-hmm. I love that you approach motherhood as a fervent journalist, because this is an anthology of stories from so many women who have raised successful, noteworthy children.
Yeah.
You know,
and
who we know and love.
Yeah, and in the same way that I admire you about looking up and knowing when to pivot, or if there's a story there, not just going, no, this is what I'm going to do. That happened to me as I was interviewing these women, because as much as it is about the X's and O's of parenting and divorce and sibling rivalry and chores and should they clean their room, it also became very clear to me that I needed to celebrate these women and celebrate women and let women know that I see them, because it's so dang hard sometimes. It's super rewarding, but there's also no template for it. There's no roadmap for it, or we'd follow it. So we're really just doing the best we can, you know? And so I think, you know, listen, there are people who have complicated relationships with their moms, or maybe you're an aunt or a grandmother or a coach or a teacher. Like, I feel like I wrote this for anybody who is in the life of a child, so that we can approach it with a bit more clarity and grace for the kids and for ourselves.
Yes, yes. Share some of the stories. I love the one you shared about Steph Curry's mom.
I know.
And Matthew McConaughey's
Steph
mom.
Curry's
is in
mom,
there.
Sonia, was my first yes.
Oof.
And, you know, his father played in the NBA, and so there's probably a lot of attention on him.
Right.
And he had this big 8th grade game. I think it was his first game. He didn't get to play because he didn't do his chores the night before.
I love it.
And I know me, like my boys play soccer, I would have cracked.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, when you get home, you better do it, you know? So I went home like, guys, that's it. Everybody's doing chores. Steph Curry did chores, you know? And then I interview like, you know, Rob Gronkowski's mom, and she's like, I just close the door. Don't get white carpet if you don't want stains on it, you know? So there's no one right way.
Right.
You know?
Oh my goodness.
But what is common, or the thread for sure, was their presence with these kids. Their presence for the kids, their resilience as women, for most of them, 99% of them, this unwavering faith. So when they were hungry or there was an illness or your child's being bullied, like there's so many issues that these women dealt with their own kids, anxiety, all of it. And these things that I'm naming are things that these celebrities dealt with as kids. And so you see these celebrities now and you don't realize all the things that they dealt with. Right. It's because their mothers nurtured them through it. But they made it. Yes. You know? And another thing that I think I gained from these women is to be careful not to wish it away. You know, it's so easy to be like, oh my God, these diapers, I'm so tired of buying diapers. Yes. If I have to wipe one more butt. Yeah. You know, or, oh, this moody teenager. If I have to do one more, you know, homework. Oh, I just can't wait until they can do it, you know? But if you're not careful, you miss it. Yes. You know? Yes. You miss it. I was talking to Rob Gronkowski's mom and I made some comment about like at the time my kids were little and I was like, man, I wish I could just like take a shower and nobody opened the door. Yeah. And she was like, I miss it. I miss cooking for them. I miss all the teenagers over my house making casseroles. She's like, you're going to look up and either you're an empty nester or maybe you're divorced. Like who knows what happens, but like it's a season. Yes. And so if we can try to still ourselves and remember that it's a season. And also, before I wrote this book, I did a documentary on infertility, right? And so many of my girlfriends are like in the fight to have children. Right. And so it's one of those things where it's like, let's remember what a powerful gift this is. Yes. In our weakest moments. And remember that like, it's such a gift to have them. You know? Yes, yes. I love that it's uplifting because I feel like I have two different facets to myself. I have a very melancholy, like deep feeling side, but then the other one is like this positive optimist. And there's a lot of messaging out there for moms that we are overworked, we are burnt out. It is messy and hard, but this gives hope. This book think is so, and hope. It's also my foot is always on the gas. Yeah, but even reading this book aloud has allowed me, and talking about these women has allowed me to pull back a little bit and to slow down. In the opening chapters, I talk about a time where I was holding my daughter. She was like 2 months at the time. Her twin was downstairs in the seat. I used to like put them in seats and like try to like entertain them because I had both of them and I was by myself. And I don't know where my toddler was at the time. He might have been with my husband. And I was rushing down the steps to get to my other little guy. And I fell down the steps while I was holding her, tucked in my arms. Oh, my goodness. And boom, 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 boom. It was spiral all the way down to the bottom. Crap. And I remember like squeezing her instinctively like a football and getting down to the bottom. And my bottom was just like throbbing because I hit it really hard on the edge of the step. And I remember looking down at her. She was fine. Oh, thank God. She was fine. Yeah. But in that moment, I'm like, what was I thinking about? I was like, probably the laundry or emails or just mindless. I was tired. Right. Like, slow down. Yes. Slow down. Because for all the laundry or whatever else I had to do at that moment, sitting in an ER is not exactly, who has time for that? Yeah. You know, and it would have been because I fell down the steps holding it. It was like slow down. Thinking about something else. Yeah. So I really, from that point on, I'm like, okay, as hard as this is, like, I have to try to be a lot more mindful about even where my feet move. Right. Just being a bit more mindful. Yes. You know, when you fall for no reason or you do something, you lose your keys. Yeah. Because we just weren't being mindful. Right. So it's hard, but I try to practice it. Yes. You're like, I guess, an avid meditator. I try. Yes. Each day. Do you have rituals that you can share? Well, I wish, you know, I just did an event with Felicia Rashad and, you know, she's so zen and calm. So she's like, I feel like a real, you know, yogi meditator type. Yeah. I am like one in training, even if it's just like, frankly, the Calm app or an app, or sometimes I'll go to YouTube and I'll put in like sound bath for meditation. You'd be surprised all the free resources, moms, that are out there to just give you a moment of zen. I had a doctor once. I used to have all these like gastro issues in my early TV days because I had a diet of Pop-Tarts and lean cuisines. I ate them every day. So my whole internal system was kind of jumbled. Yeah. And I had a doctor who was like, you know, I can give you some kind of like a pill to take each day, you know, whatever. And I was like, no. Like at the time I'm like 23. I'm like, what do I need to do? Like, I don't want to take, you know, if I have IBS or whatever it is, sure. But like, maybe I should change my lifestyle first or try. Yes. Yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, in that case, you know, the water, of course. And he's like, I want you to try, like, before you get out of bed every morning, to just sit there for 10 minutes. That means you have to set your alarm for 10 minutes earlier, but 10 minutes to just be still. And I try to do that every morning. when my
That's
alarm goes
beautiful.
off, I set it off just 10 minutes before I need it.
Yes.
And then after that, it's only another 12. So I'm out of the house in 22 minutes every day.
Wow.
22
Wow.
minutes.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Just-
I'd rather sleep.
Right.
But when I first wake up, because before I was waking up, especially 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and your heart's kind of racing, and then you just get up and go.
Yeah. And I mean, you wake up at 3
really early,
oftentimes.
or 4.
Yeah.
So your body
yeah.
can't.
If you can do it,
We can all do it.
Yes.
10
Yes.
minutes.
I
to
am going
just
to take a
breathe.
cue from this.
Just really before all the things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I try not to think about what I have to do for the day or all that. Just
Stillness.
be still.
Yeah.
It's where I come up with ideas. Like during COVID, I came up with this idea to write a book because we were all collectively still.
Right.
I still had 3 kids. They were all over it at the time. I think they were all in middle school.
Yep.
So it was a lot, but I could think. Sometimes when you slow down, that's where you're doing your best thinking. You can't dream. You can't pivot. You can't think of what else you want to do in life if you're not clear.
Exactly. And you wrote this book with the blessings of your husband, Uche.
Yeah. When I was in the thick of writing it, he got diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma.
Yeah.
And I kept writing. And I think he would see me working on it and I would give him a chapter in the early days. And I think for him, as long as I kept moving forward, he didn't hold the guilt of slowing everybody down. And I also think he didn't want me to stop my dreams. Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
he was with you from NNN to
I know
Today
he
Show.
made my
Yes.
You know, I thought about it and I had forgotten about this. One of my girlfriends reminded me. Uche made my audition reel for this job at NBC.
Oh,
I didn't know how to use because I knew VHS tapes and tape to tape. He was like a techie and knew digital stuff, so he was
Right.
able to like create the reel
Yes. Yes. Final Cut.
that eventually
Adobe.
landed.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I came up with an acronym for his name.
Aw.
Yeah. So U, unstoppable, C, compassionate, H, handsome, and E, energetic.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
I have to write that
feel
down.
yeah.
That's really
it's in the card
sweet.
I wrote you.
Oh, thank you
But
so much.
I feel for you, and I feel like if, you had this fantastical dream
I
love.
know. He was 17. I was 19. And he was literally just touring the campus at Northwestern. He was visiting. It was like a visitation weekend. And I was like, oh my God, you're so cute. You should enroll.
Yeah. And he was like, you know what? I will.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't
and
that
he
crazy?
saw you like right after
Isn't that
orientation.
crazy? I thought about it, because so we were married for 17 years and we were together for 15 years or so before that, 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, man, like I don't understand it, but we got a good 20 something years out of it, and I have my 3 kids. And I remember when I first met him in college, he said he wanted to be a pediatrician.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God, he likes kids. Like I like kids. Like, and he's cute. Like he ended up
He's
being
gonna be a
like
great dad.
such a techie and not a pediatrician.
Yeah.
But I am grateful for the romance that we had.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
you really brought that to life. I know that you've said this in past interviews that like your room was its own vision board.
Yeah.
So you had kids
Like
just
cute kids
yeah,
from
like,
magazines.
yeah,
My friends would
advertisements.
be like, Sheinelle, that's so weird. And I'm like, I know, but isn't she cute?
Right.
Like I literally remember the pictures of these kids. Like they would be like so cute. And I managed a nursery. So I just loved
Wow.
kids. And
Wow.
so in this way, like writing this love letter to motherhood is also my love letter to kids. Because
Yes.
if we can be better and we can nurture our kids and ourselves, like we can help him or her reach his or her full potential.
Yes, yes.
And that's all
absolutely.
we can hope for after all, right? Like,
Exactly.
there's no template, It's not to say somebody's going to be some celebrity or whatever. It's just you want your kids to reach their full potential,
Right.
And
Yes.
to do our part in it.
Exactly. Just help them along. We have the same setup, which I love. I had my boy girl twins first, and then a younger son. You had
Oh, wow.
Kayan, and then you had Clara.
Yeah, they
and
always
Uche
say if you
Jr.
have twins first, you don't do a third.
Yeah,
But you did.
he was our pleasant surprise.
Ah.
I was still nursing, and I was like, wait, what?
I always thought you couldn't get pregnant nursing. You just blew that out of the
It is,
water.
yeah, it is a big myth.
I seriously, I was today
Yeah.
years old.
No, yeah, I know. A friend of mine has 4.
That is hilarious.
She nursed through at least half of them. Yeah,
Oh
it's crazy.
my gosh.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I always thought that was like a window of like,
yeah.
you're not going to get
No,
pregnant.
no. Yeah, it's like no period nursing. Yeah, it doesn't.
That
it
is
doesn't add up.
hilarious.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And I guess just to close out, is there any message you'd like to leave for the moms who are listening?
Oh my goodness. I have been working maybe 8 or 9 years on this project, 8 years, for this moment where I could connect with you. Even though I don't know your name, I can't see your face. I don't know where you are along in the journey, whether you're just starting, whether you're pregnant, congratulations, or you're an empty nester, but wherever you are in the journey, I just wanted to just write a love letter to you. And what happened in the process was there were so many other women who wanted to pour into you too, whether they're celebrity moms, so you know they're adult children now who are celebrities. I asked my colleagues, I asked gospel singers, Billie Jean King, I asked everyone to give me their wisdom. And what I have now in as proof of concept, so to speak, is this love letter to you. It's called Through Mom's Eyes. If you just go to the store and see this hot pink book, I'd love your support to buy it for yourself or anyone you know who may be active in the life of a child. I really hope I left some pages in the end for people to kind of journal if there's anything that spoke to their hearts. But it's all here, whether you're, whatever you're dealing with, from divorce to illness to just stress to all of it, it's all here. So God bless you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is @KanikaChaddaGupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.